Welcome back, everyone. Okay, much more Cyberpunk news has happened, from their latest yellow background wall of text to their stock having even more of a roller coaster ride, and now, just before recording this video, their executives actually holding an investor call to essentially explain themselves to their investors, and believe me, there's a lot interesting there. Elsewhere then in the news, EA are set to gobble up another well-loved studio in a move that's actually outbidding GTA publisher Take-Two. That could be bad news for people who maybe like the company being acquired. And then, of course, for Silksong and Elden Ring, we have some crispy rumor mill news. There are so many games to play that I have got to level up myself with Skillshare, today's sponsor, and where the first 1,000 of you to click my link will get a free trial. And believe me, here's what you want to use with it. With there being so many games to play, Ali Abdal's productivity masterclass might be the only path for me to actually carve out enough time to play the damn games. The guy did his YouTube channel and a whole bunch more while being a junior doctor. That's a lot of stuff. A productive fellow, and that's why his Skillshare masterclass, I think, is the one to watch. I will certainly be kind of going over it again, taking more notes, now that our team has grown and there's new things for me to do. I actually do use many of the same tools that Ali does to run our channels. He's already been, I suppose, a invaluable mentor from a distance. So yes, course is really the one to go for. Now, of course, there are thousands more on Skillshare, the learning platform for creatives, and that's why you should click my link and get that free trial and check it out. And after Ali, while you're there, hit up Thomas Frank's Productivity Masterclass. It's also fantastic. Bean to Cup is a great one if you're a coffee fiend like me, and there's many, many more. Great example, Aaron Draplin's design ones. The guy is just so much fun, and hey, design's fun. So, head up Ali on Skillshare with my link. A big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this channel. And with that said, let's go. Let's kick things off with Cyberpunk, where quite a bit has happened indeed. First off, the apology. CD Projekt Red rolled out another yellow wall of text, this time apologizing for not showing the game off on base consoles, saying that they should have paid more attention. More attention. That's BS. They did not hand out review code for those console versions. They didn't just not show it or forget to. They went out of their way to make it impossible for anyone to know what the console version of that game was like pre-launch. The apology's not really been well received. I think it's a woeful one from a company that's been fast losing respect of its, its once adoring audience. Now, there is good news here, right? The post does outline larger updates in January and February for the game, and then it goes on to cover refunds, where first they ask that we give them time, basically asking not to refund the game because there will be patches and stuff coming, to which I would say there, yeah, that really does show that this whole thing is a case of easier to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. At least that's my opinion. But anyway, for refunds, they do encourage going to platform holders, right? Or, trying to go to retail stores, but that they will facilitate physical copy refunds where stores don't, but only until December 21st, which is a bit stingy in timing. So, they're basically asking people to wait, 3 months for core console fixes to come in, and for people to give them time instead of a refund. To which I would say there, no. Refund the game now, and if they earn your money, then give them your money later. Don't pre-order, right? Remember, these guys essentially have been lying scumbags, and that might seem like a harsh thing for me to say, but just 2 weeks before launch, Adam Kaczynski said that the game runs surprisingly well on the base consoles. He said that, knowing what that game was like internally, and then went ahead to ship it. Ship a game that regularly dipped to 15 FPS. To which I say there, Adam, you lied to people a fortnight before your game came out. What the hell? These guys know why they were so well loved. Why are they acting like this? What the hell is going on? Why did Adam say that obvious lie? It just seems wild to me that this stuff is even going on. It seems like they have messed up how they do this so completely. Now, as for the refunds, Sony apparently are doing their own refunds on PS4, even past the usual 2-hour playtime limit. We also did see some reports that Sony are set to issue a business complaint to CD Projekt Red about the widespread console issues, but Well, we don't really know how true that is. And while that's going on, well, the rest of the gaming space is getting to them because OpenCritic have actually added a warning to Cyberpunk's review page regarding the PS4 and Xbox One versions, and OpenCritic themselves actually have accused CDPR of deceptive and selfish behavior. Which is fair, because I think that's what they did. IGN also gave the last-gen console version of the game a 4 out of 10 review score, which I think is perhaps what it deserves. Maybe a little generous in the cases where it basically doesn't work. Now, in the meantime, players have also been sharing their own tips for boosting the performance of the game across platforms, which has been interesting. Loads of people on PC are just finding that there's settings that tank performance that really don't give you that much gain. On console, though, it's a bit desperate. We've got people dispersing crowds for a 10% FPS gain. Now, the Reddit does actually continue to document issues and generally express disappointment in things like the police system. There's a lot of comparisons to GTA that they're making that I don't know, to me seemed like maybe CDPR not setting accurate expectations there, but there was an odd thing that appeared and then was deleted, and it basically stated that the game is using an Intel C++ compiler that blocks optimizations if ran on a non-Intel CPU. Now, this was a fiercely challenged post, and that's probably why it was deleted, but there was another story floating around about core usage as well, so there may be some strange things going on there. Now, over in investor news, well, the stock tumbled to 265, and that's even lower than the 29% dip that we reported in the last episode, but it has since risen to a daily peak of 315. It's now hovering above 300. I'd say, though, that's not much of a victory given its, value in the 6 months running up to launch. And really, all this chaos and mention of investor stuff leads us on to our next segment. That is CD Projekt Red explaining themselves to their investors. In their investor call, CDPR said that they, as management, were too focused on shipping the game given the 3 delays, and that they ignored signals that showed that the last-gen experience needed refinement. And in a Q&A segment, they even said that they didn't have external pressures beyond those of, releasing a game normally. So it does make you wonder why they didn't just delay it again. So it seems like they're basically saying that as a team, they hyperfixated on that December 10th date, even though they didn't really need to. Now, you'll remember in some previous episodes, we covered a leaker who was basically saying that things are a humongous mess behind the scenes, and that she would not be surprised if there was another delay. I think we now know what she was talking about, and that they obviously did not make that decision. Now, the Q&A does go on to mention how, with certification, CD Projekt Red say that they assumed that Microsoft and Sony just assumed that they would get things together for launch. Now, as a tweeter then pointed out in a response to Nibble, that's not really what certification on consoles is for, that it's really more for hooking into platform features and basically getting compliance with platform standards. So that is a little bit weird, feels a bit shady to some. Moving through the Q&A, though, they say that old console footage was never shown because those versions of the game was just getting constant fixes, which is a bit wild, because they literally just said to their investors that the game was not in a good enough state to actually be shown to people, but then we know that apparently it was in a good enough state to be sold to people. That's a bit strange. Now, they did also say that the timing with availability to, the old console version of the game was not intended. It was just, trying to get the last minute fixes. But I find that impossible to believe, to be honest with you. I mean, you lot are not stupid enough to accidentally do this. You would have known what it would have been like if, that IGN 4 out of 10 for Cyberpunk came out, when the review embargo lifted. And I think you clearly tried to avoid that. Now, they also did speak to the future. This is something that I'm almost more excited about because I'd say I would probably prefer Witcher. That said, as I've said, I actually am enjoying Cyberpunk 2077 on PC, but they have said that the Gwent and Witcher 4 teams are still working as normal, and that for Cyberpunk patch time was already allocated into the team schedules, though it may take a little bit longer. That's more referring to the January-February ones, and they actually still do plan DLC in Q1 2020, which is impressive, but I think what that could maybe show us, though, is that, well, with the game's scope evidently being slashed to pieces, they're probably in a state where actually producing and shipping content in the Red engine is easy enough, but it's more been technical things that have been a bottleneck, right, for Q&A and all of that. So, while the opening statement does speak to their desire to regain, lost trust, and they essentially do, well, claim incompetence wherever they can in this, I think the situation overall is just quite rough. Now, personally, I actually do think that they just got in way too deep in this one. And I do have a lot of sympathy for what it must be like to be in that deep and to have all of those problems, right? This must have been an utter stress-ridden hellscape, both for, the workers and also for the management, for the C-suite as well. So I do empathize with the whole lot of them at a personal level. But the thing is, I have to set that aside the second it's a product that is offered to customers for their hard-earned cash. And that's the situation we're in. So roll on these patches. I'm not too sure how much else there will be here in this roller coaster that is Cyberpunk news, but certainly, if other things do happen, we will tell you about them. Okay, next up, EA are battling Take-Two for Codemasters in probably the clenchiest biz dev situation in ages, because this all came out on a Sunday night. Just as Take-Two's $994 million acquisition appeared to have been done, EA swooped in, and in the last minute, they bid $1.2 billion. Yeah. I mean, this deal is expected to be finalized in Q1 2021, but the dates aren't final yet, and we don't know whether Take-Two will make some sort of counter-offer here. But it's kind of wild. It does make you wonder, what are EA's plans for Codemasters? And I'd say it's both clear and unclear. I think they want to dominate racing, obviously. I think they also want to deny that asset from Take-Two, so that EA strategically have, a larger slice of more markets. I think they also probably want that Formula 1 license. I think that's something. But as for specifics, it is hard to tell. Now, Codemasters, I think they sure do make different games to, say, Need for Speed, right? And especially now with Codemasters having acquired Project Cars' Slightly Mad Studios, there's just so much, really well-respected racing IP and teams under that Codemasters umbrella. Honestly, though, I think this could be bad news if you like Codemasters games. And that's bad. Because as much as we sometimes sit here and say that Respawn Entertainment's lessons could be percolating through EA, it is still EA. Their track record is what it is, and it would be very sad if Codemasters, just experienced a diminishing, like I think many things do once EA actually gets to touch them. Next, rumor time. So, Elden Ring. Some interesting stuff where VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, he just seems to get off and teasing us about this one. That's kind of what led to a lot of people thinking the Game Awards would have something, but he's now said that we need just a little more patience, and he has suggested details will be out soonish, but not super soon, but also not super far away. And what this has led to is people speculating Taipei Game Show, which is the end of January 2021. And this makes sense to many because Elden Ring was supposed to be at, supposedly, Taipei Game Show 2020. Just that, of course, the whole thing was cancelled. So, there you go. There might finally be some Elden Ring soon. And then elsewhere in Rumorland, it could be that Edge magazine are cooking up something for Hollow Knight Silksong. Basically, a very comprehensive and very cool Google Doc by Hanley's, a Discord user, has brought together what looks like loads of teases from Edge Mag. This is ranging from things like how the devs, Team Cherry, follow Edge on Twitter, to outlandish theories, ambiguous pictures, references being made by Edge to popular memes within the Hollow Knight community, and then to some proper sleuthing, like Team Cherry saying they're too busy to blog, and then multiple devs appearing online at the same time in a way that people have then taken that to be people having a Discord call with Edge about an upcoming issue. It's a lot more when you dive into the Google Doc. It's all speculation, of course, but it's very fun to see the community basically see all of these things and run with them. And it could make sense because Team Cherry have tended to do cryptic character reveals in the past, so it could be working on something here. Now, if Silksong is anything like the original, then it's definitely set to be a top 10 game of its year in terms of quality, so as much as this is just fun speculation, it absolutely is fun speculation that I think it's worth paying attention to. So there you go, a lot of news today, and if you want to be great at getting through a lot of things, check out Ali Abdaal's productivity masterclass after you're done with this video. Skillshare is an incredible platform. Ali is an absolutely incredible mentor, and I really think you get a lot out of that. And of course, you can check the whole thing out 100% for free with that trial down below. So a really big thank you to Skillshare for supporting our team. You know, it really does allow a lot of what we do on this channel to actually exist. It is a super, super big help. So yeah, I'd recommend, you know, support our sponsors. They're actually really great to us. And yeah, Ali Abdaal, he's legit. Check him out. Thank you for watching. And with that said, I'll see you next time.